Luke Thomas at the SAP Center following Bellator Dynamite I next to Bellator light heavyweight champion Liam McGeary. Liam, congratulations on your win. We talked a little bit at the press conference about it. He got you to the ground. He looked like he was doing okay, but I noticed that your face was sort of like very calm and serene and matter of fact. Any point in that fight where you were like, this isn't going the way I want it to go, even though I know you were attempting offense the whole time?
No, I mean, we got 5 rounds, you know. Okay, he won the first one, you know, but you never. The fight wasn't over. The round wasn't over. I still had time. I have faith in my jiu-jitsu. You know, I believe in my jiu-jitsu. I believe in jiu-jitsu. I was a little bit gutted about the wrestling because I've been working hard at the wrestling. That's why I was like, I stuffed the first shot. You know, I was proud I stuffed the first shot. But you know what, man? Again, like I said, wrestling has been around for a long time, and a wrestler's been wrestling for a long time. So I've just got some catching up to do. But for that now, I rely on my good jiu-jitsu when we go down on the ground, you know. So it'll get me through.
Very crafty guard, phenomenal. A couple of armbar attempts there, and then the last one, which you sort of converted into a triangle at the last minute, I suppose, which caught him at the end of the fight. Where would you rate your guard among light heavyweights in all of MMA?
You know what, man? It's looking pretty good. I think it's got to be up there with the top, you know, if not the top, you know. So in fact, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, it's the number one. It's the top. I've got the best guard in MMA.
When you do jiu-jitsu, do you prefer to play the bottom game, or you like to top pass at all too? Because you have the body. I mean, for this body type, it actually works both ways.
Yeah, I mean, I roll jiu-jitsu and I get on top and I go underneath. I go on the side of it.
No, I know that. I mean, I know you train the positions, but like, do you prefer the guard, or do you prefer the top pass?
No, I like being down on the ground, you know, and it's just this whole MMA thing. Everybody thinks was when you're down on the ground, you're losing the fight, but it's not necessarily true, you know, which I prove with Emmanuel. You know, I'm on the ground, but I'm holding the person where I want him to be. I'm pushing him over here, pushing him over there, you know, so it's like they're not controlling the fight. I'm controlling the fight. I'm controlling it off my back, you know, and it's maybe I'm going to be schooling people on this, but it's going to have to change. Like the whole, we've all said about the points, the point scoring system. The judges, they could just because they're lying on top of them doesn't necessarily mean they're winning that fight. You know, if they're getting the shit kicked out of them from the bottom, it's just exactly the same if the roles were reversed. You know, if the guy on top was doing the battering, I could understand him winning the fight, but the guy underneath is doing the battering, hitting him, he wins the fight. You know, so it's. Yes, I mean we're just gonna have to do a few. The judges are gonna have to see a few things and see if we can change a few things around.
Or if you get the submission, it won't even matter, right? So there's that too. This was your first title defense here in Bellator. It was on a big Dynamite show. Didn't seem to really affect your nerves at all. Now that it's all over, now that you're looking back, was this experience easy for you to manage?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, the biggest amount of pressure was getting hold of this thing. You know, I knew the guy I was fighting was a tricky dude. There was a lot riding on it. I had a lot of people coming over. My family came over. So I was put under a little bit of pressure there. I love fighting. I love doing what I do. This is just the training. The training sucks sometimes, you know. But the fight, I love to do this thing. I love getting punched in the face. I love punching people in the face. You know, it's the whole intricacy, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, the technique of everything. This is what I live for. So now, I was fighting Tito Ortiz. Man, I've been saying since I think about it, I don't even know how long it was. When I first saw Tito, I was like, imagine me fighting him. 8 years later, 7 years later, I'm stepping in the ring with Tito Ortiz, who that's the first guy I watched in an MMA fight. You know, I just enjoy the moment, take everything in my stride, and just enjoy everything.
I could be wrong about this, so if I am, correct me. You spoke to one of our colleagues at MMA Fighting this week, Sean El-Shadi, and you told him that there was only one person in the division's jiu-jitsu, or wrestling, I believe, that you were a little bit unsure about, and it was Phil Davis. Right now you have to fight Phil Davis. Now, I'm not saying you're unsure about your abilities. I would never say that. But now that it's here, how do you feel about how you match up against Phil Davis?
Oh, great. You know, I mean, this is going to be a great fight, you know. I mean, Phil Davis has his wrestling. You know, like I say, I'm going back to school and I'll be training my wrestling. You know, so you're not going to see the same kind of wrestling skills you saw there. You'll see better skills. I'm just going to keep getting better and better and better. You know, I mean, I'm only 11-0. You know, I mean, this is. I'm still early in my career. You know, a lot of these people had a lot more fights than me. They've been doing it for a lot longer than me. You know, they got good. You know, they've had their climb. maybe still climbing, but there's a slow climb. I'm still shooting up. You know, every day I go in that gym, I'm getting better. Every time I learn something, somebody shows me something, I take it in, and I do it, and I do it right. You know, so it's just repetition. You know, with Phil Davies, man. Like I said, man, this is my house, right? I've been in Bellator now. I don't know, 8 fights, 7 fights, 8 fights, something like that. You know, I worked right the way up through the ranks. I got my shot. I won my shot. You know, this is my house. So you come in my house, you ain't get fucking fucked up, man.
It seems to me, and I will let you go here and appreciate your time because I know you're hungry. You got a bunch of sliders here on the table.
I'll keep looking at them as well.
All right, so I'll make it quick. You know, it takes a long time to connect with fans, no matter how good you are, no matter where you're from. It takes time to build a process. That's the case for everyone. But it seems like you're starting to connect with the American fan base here. They're recognizing you more. Your interviews are coming off very likable. Do you feel that as well? I mean, obviously you're focused on your fight. Hey, I got to get Tito Ortiz. I got to get my belt. Okay, fine. But can you detect like you're turning any corners with how the fan base recognizes and responds to you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the fans are responding awesome. You know, they're awesome people. Every time there's a show on, I mean, I was half expecting like I'm against Tito Ortiz. You know, we're in California. I didn't know if I was going to get any boos or anyone, and I knew there was people shouting Tito. But you know what, man? I walked out there and everyone was like cheering my name, and it was an amazing feeling. You know, I was walking down there. I had my headphones in. I was listening to my granddad's song. You know, and I was transfixed, and I looked up when I saw my coach there, and then all the fans, man, and it was just like, this is amazing. I just took every single moment in. I love them all, absolutely love them all. That was a good show, and I had to put on a good show for the fans, you know.
All right, well, congratulations on your win. Phenomenal first-round victory for Tito Ortiz. You can eat your sliders now. I give you permission. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, man. Cheers for having me.